Hello, this is Dr. Young, and I'm going to go over your Module 1. I like to go over them in a video every week, so I will do that each week. So the first thing we're going to talk about is supply chain and the phases of that. We're going to talk about push-pull views of supply chain, strategic fit between supply chain strategy and competitive strategy. Basically, they're all listed here, but we're going to kind of go through the whole, define it, talk about the cycle, the phases, and basically, we talk a lot about making it the most efficient as possible in this class. So you may have, this is something that kind of goes into, you may have heard of lean manufacturing, for example, and a lot of that push-pull is basically having the right amount of inventory based on whatever the demand is and not holding inventory. And so we're going to talk about different things like that and just how things move through the process and how you can make that the best it can be, really. And it's not just it's really, you'd be surprised how this can apply in real life too. So we'll talk about different things regarding that. But just to get you started, make sure to read your chapters, read the module. You do have a quiz the first week, 60-minute time limit. You have 2 attempts. The higher score automatically gets recorded. It is a 50-point quiz with 50 multiple choice true or false questions. So that's the first assignment. Now, you have forums every week, discussion forums. You may be familiar with this already, but the original post is due by Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Between Wednesday and Friday, you're going to make a response to another student, and then between Friday and Sunday, you're going to respond to comments to your original post. This is the grading rubric that I use when I grade your forum discussions. Oops, I'm just going to mess that one up. Right here. It'll be pasted into your grade feedback box, and it'll have some numbers on the side and some summary comments at the bottom. This is for every discussion. Every discussion uses the same rubric. So, for your first discussion question, you're going to consider the supply chain process when you order a book from Amazon. So in this case, you got to identify the push-pull boundary and 2 processes in each. And then what ways do supply chain flows affect the success or failure of a firm such as Amazon? And then you're going to talk about 2 decisions that have an impact on supply chain profitability, and then you're going to compare that basically how the decisions made by Amazon in this in supply chain differ from maybe the Gap, for example. And that's just any clothing store, really. They could be any one of them, but that one is the one we're going to talk about. So you'll need to do research outside of the. Obviously, you'll have to do some research on both of these companies. So whenever you have a discussion post that requires research, I do want the site basically APA format and those sources cited in that format. We use APA in this course. It's very important that you stick with that format and not go with MLA or any other, because if you're in this program, you should be using APA throughout. Okay, so you have a written, and when I say APA in discussions, I'm just saying, at the very end of the post, provide a reference. In the body of the text, provide an in-text citation. Now, for your written assignment, the whole paper needs to be an APA structure. It means running heads, title pages, headings, all of that is necessary for written papers in this class. So make sure that you are up to speed on how that format should be. If you're not, I would recommend this website and not MLA. There we go, APA. That doesn't look right. That's because that's not the right site. I'm just going to go here and then find it through here. So I messed that up. Okay, so it's the APA guide. So that's what you want to use right here. I use the formatting and style guide. It's a great resource. This is what I would use. You can use another source if you have a better one. I don't care. But that's just want to make sure that you know there are resources out there for you to use. This one lets you automatically do it through Citation Machine, but I prefer that you just make sure that you know how to do it manually. I don't like those because a lot of students use it as a crutch. You should know how to do it just by learning it. Okay. So this is a 3-page paper, and that means content, does not mean title or reference page. So that's not included ever when we're talking about papers. It's like that is just not even in the page count. Okay. APA formatting, like I just said, we do process these through Turnitin, so make sure that you're using your own words. And just remember, APA is important, especially at this point. You're at a graduate level. Documents not adhering to this format could be returned for rewriting and a reduced score, and I will do that. So make sure that you're paying attention to the format. And honestly, this is not very common, but I mean, I've had students submit papers that, I mean, I know I've probably written in a high schooler could write. So then I'm going to return it back and say, okay, no, we need APA format. This is a graduate level class. Very rarely does that happen, but I have to say it anyway. So, you know, it's at this point you should probably be really familiar with it. You've probably written a lot of papers in APA by now before you've reached this course. So I'm pretty confident everyone's going to know what to do there. But if I don't tell you and then it comes back that someone doesn't, then I get told, well, you didn't tell me, so I'm making sure to tell you. Okay, this is the rubric for the written assignment. This is also, it's kind of a generic rubric. So what happens is I will put this in an Excel sheet, for example. On the right-hand side, I'll have a comment blocks for each area. Actually, no, not for this one. I'll have score. And then at the bottom, I do instructor comments. It's like a summary of my comments specific to that assignment. So that's how it works with the rubrics for your papers. Okay, so for the paper, it's a case study, Chapter 3, 7-Eleven Japan Company case study, page 61. So it's going over some of the, practices in Japan and 7-Eleven. So what you need to do is kind of think about how it's done here, how it's done there, and what are the pros and cons of the approach. And, how does it work in the different environments that we're discussing here. So that's what you have to think through. So based on your readings and the case study, you should probably come up with some ideas to answer these questions. I don't want to say too much about them because I don't want to, I'm hoping that the conclusions that you come to are reasonable and valid. So again, what I would do in this is research these, see if you can find some more information online about them, and then just reading about the supply chain in the first week's readings. You should be able to answer these questions pretty effectively. So, that's all. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. The best way to reach me is by text. That's the quickest response that you'll get out of me. If you are doing this paper, writing this paper, and you come up with some questions, text it to me. I'll be happy to assist you. And while you're working through this, if you get stuck, if you need just, somebody to get you over that hump, how sometimes you think, I think I know this, but I'm not sure, text me. Or email me, but text is just faster. So I always say text me first because it's faster. That's really all. If you have any questions, let me know, and have a great week. Thanks for listening.